Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sabah al-khair. Good morning, everyone. So I know you had a lot of digital health and innovation the whole morning and the whole yesterday. And as a cancer specialist, we said we're going to step in and just talk to you about what are the advances. Cancer burden is going up sky high. Number of cases, the cost. However, we need to work more to decrease and improve the overall survival and the outcome of these patients. We know that with the early detection or even prevention, the cost will significantly be reduced, as well as the outcome will significantly increase. And this is what we call value-based healthcare. So without any further ado, I'm so pleased to have all the panels with me today, and we're going to talk about the innovation in cancer care. So I have with me Dr. Abdurrahman Jazia, who is a medical oncologist. Is well known to Saudi. He was the chairman of Oncology Center at National Guard Hospital here for many years. He's currently the director of innovation and research at Sinanti Cancer Center. And he is the CEO of Innovative Healthcare Institute over there. You established the NCCN, which is the major guidelines that the oncologists use here, MENA region. We have also Dr. Danuta Juzowska. She is the CEO of a biotech. She is inventor, and she is a gene expert. She is also a former CEO and founder and co-founder of many companies. She is currently the vice chair of BIA Genomic Committee and a member of Date Health Subgroup for the Life Science Council. And she holds a PhD in systemic biology. Also, we are pleased to have Dr. Ali Al-Zahrani. Dr. Al-Zahrani holding an MBBS and diploma in applied epidemiology from King Saud University, MPH from University of Michigan, and a PhD in cancer genetic epidemiology from the University of Cambridge. Since 2005, he worked at King Faisal Specialist Hospital as the chair of Epidemiology Research Unit and executive director of the Gulf Center for Cancer Control and Prevention, and also deputy executive director of research and innovation. So let me start with some of the questions. So Dr. Jazia, what are the latest advancements in technology for early cancer detection?
Well, thank you, Dr. Muhammad, for the nice introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the organizer. So actually, in cancer detection, there are movement from invasive, inconvenient testing that detect one cancer to less invasive and actually non-invasive testing of multiple cancer. So if you look at the colonoscopy, for example, which is inconvenient, very invasive procedure, we moved to stool testing, and now we have shield testing with genetic testing in the blood for cancer. And then we move from detecting one cancer at a time to detecting multi-cancers. So, for example, the Gallery test can detect up to 70 cancer with a blood test. So these are now, moving also from the genetic testing into more panomic and proteomic testing and so on. So we are not just looking at the circulating tumor DNA, but we are looking at other markers. In addition, the most important thing with this huge data of genetic testing, molecular testing, and other testing, we need more sophisticated way of interpreting the data. So in the past, the radiologists interpret the mammogram, the radiologists interpret the CT of the chest. Now we need actually more sophisticated tools, which AI. So AI goes hand in hand in helping us interpret what we found in the testing. And the last point is that the advancement is not just with blood test or molecular testing, genetic testing, but also in other technology. For example, there are bras that act like an ultrasound, could detect breast cancer. So there are other technologies beside the molecular genetic testing.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That was excellent answer to have an idea about what are the latest advancements. Dr. Danuta, Dr. Jazia talked about the genomics. So what does genomics play of an early detection of cancer?
And of course, and I will echo many points that Dr. Jazier already mentioned, but genomics really revolutionized the cancer care and really created a paradigm shift into how we diagnose cancer and classify cancer. Moving from looking on the origin, the organ of origin, to really classifying cancer based on the drivers, but also on response to treatment. And I believe that further we will be moving towards looking on molecular signatures of cancers to classify them. But there is a lot that is still unknown. For example, heterogeneity of cancer in space and time. There is also the aspect of the microenvironment and interactions with immunocells. But I think also there is a key around the drivers that are causing cancer. Mostly we are focusing on genes, but very much there are the alternative drivers like copy number variation, the structural variants, the fusion proteins, but also epigenetic changes. And there is also somatic and germline variation within the non-coding part of the genome that is largely unexplored. And this non-coding part of the genome actually defines which proteins will be produced and at what level, because it regulates which genes are turned off and on. And aberration in this process, it's a mechanism that is known to cause diseases. And indeed, 95% of disease-linked genetic changes are located there, and majority of them have no function ascribed. So this is almost like a gold mine for future biomarkers and potential therapeutics that is largely unexplored. And those are very much the future frontiers for classification of cancer and looking for new treatments. But now looking on UK, where I'm from, in NHS, very much it moved from looking on single genes to looking on panels. For example, in hematology, the whole genome sequencing is routine. There is also a look on RNA sequencing to identify potential fusion proteins. But this is very much about diagnosis patients that are showing symptoms. But the key is also looking on asymptomatic patients. And here, as Dr. Jazier highlighted, there is a huge promise linked with detecting the cell-free DNA, and tests like GRAIL developed, which is looking on methylation of cell-free DNA across number of cancers, but also is linking this technology with machine learning tools that predicts the organ of origin with 90% accuracy, directing doctors of where to start looking. So I think we are at the start of evolution of how we look on cancer, and genomics will continue to play a significant role.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That was a perfect answer. So after hearing about all these advances and all of these innovations, the question for you, Dr. Zahrani, how can we translate these research innovations to a clinical practice? What are the challenges that you think that might face us when we do that?
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad, for the nice introduction, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And as has been mentioned by my colleagues, there are a big pipeline of innovative tests that can be used to detect cancer at early stages. And challenges are many because, as you know, any new test has to go through several rounds of research and development, and then mainly to ensure the safety and reliability of these tests. And then to move into the sensitivity, specificity, and the added value comparing to the existing modalities, if any. And then going to a high level of visibility studies, cost analysis, and then making the decision from the healthcare providers, and also to encourage the industry to invest in that in the new tests. So all of this journey, each one has its own challenge, and I'll start from the R&D. It needs the appropriate setting and the infrastructure, and also the funding mechanism that accepts some failures, because we know that there is a lot of challenges, and not all of these tests will prove itself, and then it has to be sustainable and something continuum fund and support in this line. And also when it comes to the clinical practice, and ensure that or make the decision that this is the standard of care, putting this in the standard of care, you need to go through all of the process of doing different studies, visibility studies, and so on. So the support from supporting the lab investigations and providing the infrastructure through supporting the mechanism of proving these tests to be used, and then you go to the regulatory issues after all of doing the validity studies and so on, so it can be approved and can be incorporated in the health care system.
And then cost.
And the cost is an issue.
Yeah.
Cost is an issue.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zahrani. That was an excellent overview of the challenges. And question to you, Dr. Jazia. If we come over these challenges, how can we ensure access to underserved populations of these tests, of these innovations?
Yeah, so actually underserved is not for developing countries. There are a lot of underserved population even in the US we are facing day to day. There are 3 A's in my mind to solve this problem. The first A is accessible, the second A is affordable, and the third A is applicable. So the first A is accessible. Accessible is not just for the patient to have an access to the clinic. It goes beyond that now. Most of the genetic testing companies have a phlebotomy goes to the patient home even. So you resolve many issues, inconvenience of appointment, transportation, and so on. So they send the phlebotomists take the blood from the patients at home. So that's accessibility. The second thing, affordability. Actually, it's very important. The genetic testing, takes sometimes few $1,000s. But you find that the companies did capping. So, for example, they say out of pocket is $200 period. If the insurance refused or something like that. And if a patient turn out positive for any of the risks, sometimes especially for hereditary cancer, they can test all their first-degree relative for free. Affordability also has to have, other substitution, other subsidiaries that contribute to that, including the pharma, the industry, the testing companies, and the government, of course. But the government cannot, be responsible for all the financial aspects for this. This is bigger than any single entity, including professional societies, not charitable societies, and so on. And the third one is applicable. We need to know exactly what are the population that benefit from it, what are the guidelines for it, what to do with the result of the testing, and so on. Applicability means you should have algorithms, you should have clear indication of population testing and what to do with the result.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. Jazia. Let's switch gear and talk about AI and machine learning. We want to hear, Dr. Danuta, your view for early detection from these 2 aspects, AI and machine learning.
Of course, and again, like genomics, machine learning is revolutionizing cancer care, and there is massive potential of improvements in accuracy, efficiency, and also timelines of cancer detection. And there are very promising evidence within number of cancers, including breast cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, skin cancer, and the impact is across the continuum of the cancer care. And if I just pick few innovations, so if we think first about the predisposition, so how do we find the not yet patients, but people with higher risk, the machine learning is used to find polygenic risk scores, looking on proteomics, but also identify the key variables that are predictive of higher risk. Then machine learning is also used, and there are some tests in UK, in the NHS, of how do we get then patients more efficiently to testing. So for example, there is a tool that is using WhatsApp together with machine learning as an AI receptionist. And it has been shown to improve that for cervical cancer. And then if we move further into symptomatic patients, there is a huge impact on diagnostic, on characterization of cancer, segmentation of cancer, and monitoring of cancer. And for example, in NHS, there are pilots around tool that is looking on mammogram images to diagnose cancer. There is a new startup that I recently heard that has a better tool for a more dense breasts that are usually very hard to diagnose from mammogram images. There is a known impact for lung cancer. There are some studies around virtual biopsies. So simply how do you characterize cancer from the images to then choose the treatment. And finally, segmentation. And here is the efficiency. Sometimes process that will take between 20 minutes to 3 hours, now it can take 1 to 2 minutes. So very much the AI will help doctors diagnose patients and find the hidden patterns within even GP records. Because there has been also a tool called See the Signs tested, and helping GPs as a first line of diagnosis to then diagnose more patients and refer to further tests. So I think the impact will continue, and it's very much about getting the real world evidence and adoption as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was an excellent review. And as you said, we need this to be applied successfully in the real practice. And in order to do that, Dr. Zahrani, we need the collaboration between the researcher, the investors, industry, to sit all together. How can we improve this collaboration?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, collaboration is the key, success for the to go forward. And I think by creating the environment that encompasses all of the stakeholders and towards mutual beneficial outcomes. And to do this, at the level of organization, I think if you move around the patient needs, okay, then probably you'll get the clinician interest. Scientists always can shift their interest and make it around that problem. And also will attract the industry to invest in it. So creating the environment that will bring everybody interest to work together. At high level, the national level, I think there maybe the funding bodies can also mandate the direction of research and put the research agenda, and let people work around it. And we can see this happening with the transformation that we are witnessing nowadays. I mean, we have the national funding bodies, the RDIA, the Saudi NIH, and putting the research agenda and encouraging collaboration between different layers. And I think having all of these and enabling some also researchers from the peripheries. We have the initiative by CACS to have the national lab and to provide access to researchers from different regions to come and to integrate with others. I can see this happening within nowadays, and I'm expecting this to develop more in the future. So collaboration is a need, is a must, and but it has to have something attracts everybody at level of organization. Maybe the patient needs will motivate the research. At the national level, the fund will bring people around together and come up with maybe joint research ideas that takes the all aspects, from accepting the ideas itself and to marketing the idea afterwards.
Perfect, thank you very much. And I think such meetings is a great opportunities for people to initiate some ideas and network with everyone else to see a way of doing research and collaboration. Dr. Jazia, we're always talking about precision oncology and oncology. This is our life, daily life.
Yes.
Precision oncology is not only giving a patient such a treatment, but sometimes it's actually to avoid any treatment. Where do you see the precision oncology with this advances in cancer care?
Yeah, it's very important. Actually, precision medicine will take over everything, not just in oncology. In the future, people will not prescribe even mental health medication without having pharmacogenomic testing. So, we need to know, and that's very important. The healthcare professional know that precision medicine improves the patient outcome, improves survival, improves the quality of life, and it's cost effective. So that's the number one barrier, is that everybody in the healthcare team should know that. The surgeon, the interventional medicine, and so on, they need to know that. So, but then we need to have an algorithm guidelines that integrating this precision medicine into the workflow of the patient. The testing could be reflex testing, so we don't have to wait for the oncologist to order, like the same way we don't order HER2 ER/PR. Genetic testing should be done on the patients with diagnosis of cancer immediately by the pathologist. And of course, that has a lot of things has to be covered, but I'm talking about the ideal situation. And then, very important now, integrating the result in the electronic medical record. So because most of these tests are sent out even in the US, so rather than getting a paper folder, it has to be integrated and the patient see it. And on top of that, you need a decision support system to help the patient, the physician make a decision, molecular tumor board, informatics expert in the hospital to help make the decision. But it's actually practical and it can be done. But the way it's going, the trajectory of this progression of the field, you need a good support and system to move forward and keep up with the science.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. Jazia. Let me jump to you, Dr. Zahrani, and then I'll come back to you, Dr. Danuta. Dr. Zahrani, cancer care is expensive, extremely expensive. With these new advances, with these new technology, with the tests, with the medications, even end-of-life care toward the end, it's expensive. How can we ensure these services are affordable to our populations?
Well, I'll try to answer the question, and I welcome also comments from my colleagues, because I'm mainly with the preventive side. But what I see, my opinion actually, it is at the national level, it is the structure of the healthcare system itself and the standard of care that adopted by the healthcare system, and then making the ensuring the equity and accessibility of the standard care. So we are talking that every cancer patient should receive the standard of care regardless. And then comes, as you know, there is lots of advancement, and these are costs, with high cost. And then you need to maximize the utilization, of these facilities. I give the example of, the radiation therapy, and nowadays we have the carbon ion, the proton therapy, and you cannot duplicate it in every region, but the proper access to this service will help patients from peripheries to reach or to get the needed treatment. And the other thing is also to move towards the localization, supporting the local companies, okay, to expand and also to open the market for them. These are the thing that comes in mind, and probably Dr. Jazia and Dr. Donato maybe can add to this.
We'll run out of the time. Last question to you, Dr. Donato. Where do you see the future of precision oncology?
Yeah, no, of course. So very much the future of oncology is in diagnosing patients at the stage 1 of cancer, or even on the pre-initiation stage of cancer. So we can treat cancer early on or even prevent it. And then have targeted treatments based on the molecular signatures of cancers. And this is simply because early diagnostics save lives, and this is clear from the numbers. In UK, if you look on breast cancer, at stage 1 of cancer, the survival rate is almost 100%. But if you go to stage 4, there is a drop to 25%. I even personally am sitting here today because I was diagnosed very quickly at the stage 1. I got precision treatments with high efficiency and care from the NHS. So very much it's about diagnosis, but the future lies behind the understanding more the disease biology behind the cancer. And right now we are in the era where there is a convergence of technologies. There is the AI, there is genomics, there is CRISPR-Cas9 genetic engineering, there is big data, and also a connection with the healthcare records. Plus there are new ways of drugging the undruggable. And very much this will enable us to identify those further drivers, the heterogeneity in space, but also in time. Also identify the mechanism of how the cancer is initiated, what is the resistance from cancer, metastasis of cancer. And this is also due to the fact that we can now look not just on the sequence, but very much on the extra layers of how the genome is translated to phenotype. So the transcription, the 3D genome architecture, epigenetics, the proteomics, also spatial transcriptomics and single cell analysis. And I think all of those tools will enable us to understand the disease better and develop new biomarkers, new treatments, and really turn cancer from potentially often a death sentence to a condition that is a chronic condition, or a condition that can be a cure at some point in the future.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this session with you guys. Thank you, Dr. Jazia. Thank you, Dr. Danuta. Thank you, Dr. Zahrani. Thank you all for coming and attending with us. Special thanks to the research, development, and innovation for sponsoring this session and for having us. يعطيكم العافية.